Welcome to another episode of Bookspace Chatter, Bookspace Besties, and today we have the incredible Hartley with us. She is a romance author here to chat all about her Faircloud series. When I seen that you were interested in doing the show, I was so excited because I literally love a feel-good romance series, and like when you sprinkle in like cowboys, small town, oh no, chef's kiss, I'm sold. So yeah, do you want to explain a little bit about what readers can expect for those who have not got to read it yet?
Absolutely. So this is my first series, and it's definitely a palate cleanser, right? It's very low angst, very cozy, cute, and just fun, right? A lot of us as readers, I've used to be on Bookstagram, so I love the whole reading community. Sometimes we ping pong, right? Sometimes maybe we're dabbling with dark romance, sometimes angsty romance novels, those kinds of things. And I wanted the Faircloud series to be just a palate cleanser, right? It's very, very low stakes, low angst, and it's just something that can get you in the cozy vibes.
Well, I think that's what everyone needs. And like, I mean,
Yeah.
I might have tons of high fantasy like stacked on my TBR, but I'm gonna have a bunch of like just cozy, feel good palette cleansers, as you said, because I think we're all just looking for that in between reads.
Right. Especially like even fantasy, right? It's just like there's a lot of stake, right? There's all of these different elements, and sometimes our minds need to just like shut off and just enjoy something light, right? And light and fluffy. So,
Exactly. Like when you have to like really zone in and really focus, it takes a little bit of brain power. And sometimes when I'm reading, I don't want to have to use my brain that much.
and I know, right? It's like, and when I describe it that way, when I started writing, I was like, hey, really don't have to use your brain. I'm like, huh, is that a good marketing technique or like a bad one? But it's done me okay, right? And I think that everybody can relate to I need just something that's just easy and is going to make me feel good.
Exactly. 100%. And yeah, I think that's a great marketing tool because you're gonna find your readers that way.
Right? Yes.
So I know that there is several books in the series. Isn't there a fourth one on the way? Am I right?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So the first book, the story we wrote follows along main characters Boone and Aspen. What was your favorite part about creating their story specifically?
So, this being my first book, I feel that I am Aspen to my core, right? I mean, those of you that have read the book, she wants to be a romance author. Like that is her thing, where for her she's never experienced love. Where I've been in a relationship 10 years, I'm married, me, I'm maybe not so much that, but for her she just wanted to be a romance writer and that's all she ever wanted to do. And for me, it was kind of like a later in life choice, and her parents wanted her to be the biggest and the best. And like what parent doesn't want that for their daughter, but for her it was a bit of a struggle because she wants to make them happy, but it is also learning how to make herself happy and what she wants and like sticking up for herself. And I found myself in while writing her is like sticking up for what I want, right? And sticking up and even becoming and telling people I was a romance author was weird in the beginning, right? It's like because you get so many like you write romance like there's such this preconceived notion about what it is to read or write romance, right? So for her it was like this confidence like yeah, I do. And it was me also stepping into the world, right? And from my profession into the romance profession of like yes, I'm confident in the fact I want to write romance. So for her like she was a piece of me, and I think I've then left a piece of me in every one of those books, but that being my first like holds the biggest part of kind of me discovering who I want to be and where I want to be.
Okay, that is like so beautiful. And it's just like it makes me fall in love with characters even more in stories when I know that, I mean, naturally, everything authors write, it's gonna like come from their heart, they're gonna connect to it. But like when they really do talk about like seeing themselves in pieces of it, it just like, I don't know, it tugs me even more.
It adds emotion, right? It adds that
Yeah,
extra layer. It's like, okay, the person that wrote this is a person, right? And is
yeah,
navigating and trying to figure out this, for me, this part of their life.
I know. I think that is so great that you put that like into a book and then everybody can like relate to that who's wanted to maybe chase this dream because like you said there is like a certain I don't know response people seem to get when you find out you write romance and there's so much more to it than that. Like it's important and if it was just strictly romance, like who cares? We need that. I mean,
Right. Absolutely. And like writing romance, I think I posted on Threads about this a couple weeks ago, is writing romance to the people that don't read it or the people that have never even wrote it or experienced it. It seems so basic, but in reality, you have to tap into a part of your brain that elicits emotion. Like you were trying to elicit emotion through words and somebody that you've never met, right? So it's like, how hard is that is to pull an emotion out of somebody that you don't know, right? Whether that's anger, whether that's sadness, whether that's love, right? We all experience all of those emotions so differently, right? To write romance and to have somebody feel that you've never met before, I think is such a important skill that is often overlooked when you hear, oh, she writes romance for, for a living.
oh my gosh. Yeah, exactly. I think you need to even be like maybe a motivational speaker on the side because that that was fantastic that you just did right there.
I'm a therapist, so I feel
Oh,
like that's where it comes from.
okay. Well, that tracks them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think it's so important when people do take that leap and they don't care about the response that they might get from maybe people in their real life.
Hmm.
And so I think it's really important and really amazing because if they hadn't, then we wouldn't have what we have today. And that's crazy to think about.
Right, and that's Aspen, and right, that's it to bring it all full circles, like that's Aspen, right?
Yeah,
She hid it from her family. I mean, I also hid it from mine. My mom found out. She found my Instagram. But she's like, and not because I knew she wasn't going to be my biggest supporter, because my mom
right.
is, but it's from Aspen too, is she was hiding it from everybody besides her closest friends, right? And because of this feeling, like, how is this going to be perceived? So like full circle moment, right? Going back to my favorite part of writing their story is the fact that it can feel real for a lot of people where it's like, what do I do? And is it going to be received well?
Yeah, exactly. Well, your family did eventually find out
Yes, they
because
did.
we love a supportive family, but yeah, it's
Right.
definitely a little nerve-wracking, probably in
Sure.
the beginning. This first book, I love a good cowboy romance, and I love the tropes that you included in this one. Did you like have a game plan when you sat down to write this first book? Like, okay, I want it to have this, I want it to have that, I want this to be the plot, or did you sort of choose the tropes as you went along?
I'm definitely so in the romance writing world, we call it plotting or pantsing.
Yeah.
I'm 100% a pantser.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
like I've been trying to plot more that I'm getting into the trad space, right? And having to really pay attention to timelines and
Yeah.
right flow. It's like I'm trying to lean more on the plot side because there's things that, I mean, when I was going through the edits of the series, my editor was like, girl, no, like you said this like forever ago, like, and she's picking up pieces from
Right.
all three novels that I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about, right? And or when it comes to timeline.
Yeah.
So writing this, 100% a pantser. And so it was more so I have these two characters in my head, right, that are speaking to me, what I want them to be, and where I kind of want their story to go. Like I know I wanted them to be neighbors, right? So like forced proximity, that
Yeah.
was going to be in there, right? The fake dates came later, right? That wasn't really something that I had planned on having in the story. Sunshine, sunshine. So they're both very bubbly people. I always, right? That's just kind of who they are and staying true to who they are.
I
Um,
love that.
I love it, right? And I love a good grumpy sunshine and a grumpy grumpy, but I feel like you don't see the sunshine a lot where they're just two like happy people, you know?
Exactly.
So I didn't really have all of the tropes figured out, but again, as a pantser, they just kind of popped up as the story came to.
I love the origin story of how you created that.
Yes.
And seriously, hats off to you because I truly admire pantsers because like I don't know how people do it. Like I don't really know if like if I were to write a book, I don't know if I could really plot the entire thing, but I don't know if I could just fly in and create something cohesive without like having some bullet points.
Yeah, like I'll write down a few like main topics. Like I'll literally have like main topics, things I want them to do, like meet cute, XYZ, like this is how they'll
Yeah,
meet, right? And it just kind of I let the characters write the story, right? As I write them and as I learn about them because they start as just a thought, right? And I usually take personality tests as all of my characters so I can better understand, right, their kind of backing, right? I get their there are anagrams or whatever, and their
Yeah.
numbers and all of that, and then I kind of derive them from there. So it's like I let them tell their story. I know where I'm gonna put them,
Yeah.
but then they kind of, as they interact, I gain more of their personality, and they'll
That
tell.
is amazing.
Yeah.
It's so like refreshing when you like see so much thought literally poured into characters and their backstories, etc.
Mhm.
As a reader, I have read so many books, and when you're able to like feel like you're reading about a real family or a real couple, it's just the absolute best thing. And
Mhm.
you're like, oh, I can imagine, these people living next door to me, or not to like sound super weird, but
Right, but provoking that emotion, like we were just
yeah,
talking about, right? It's just like
yeah,
provoking that feeling where it's like, wow, I feel like I know these characters, right? I feel like this can be a real possibility, right? And these they feel so genuine. So it's like learning the people that you're making, I guess, right?
yeah. Definitely. That's probably the best way to describe it. I know you said you was like a pantser when you started writing this first book. But what was like the inspiration that you were just like, okay, I want to create a story and I want this storyline to be out in the world?
So it's a crazy story. So I was going through my master's program and I worked as a manager in retail and I was known as the book girl. Like I always had my headphones in and was listening to audiobooks, right? Everybody knew me as the reader, right? And it just became kind of an identity within where I had worked. And I worked a lot in the back of the store. I was like an operations manager.
Oh,
And so I was back there doing one of our jobs, like one of the many jobs that we had at the store I was working at. And I had one coworker who was from Texas, and he had moved up to Pennsylvania where I live and was working in operations with me. And he knew I love a cowboy romance. And he had like the Southern draw, right? He was like, yeah. And so one day he said to me, I was listening to a book and he comes up to me, he goes, he's like, I am what you read in those books. But he didn't say darling. He called everybody mama. So he was like, I am what you read in those books, mama. And I was like, okay, haha, so funny. And then I'm like, wait, that would be iconic as a line, and so therefore I gave Boone Cassidy the iconic line of I am what you read in those books, darling. And that is what started it all was a conversation that and I don't think he knows or remembers that he ever said that to me. And I was just like, that's a good one, and that needs to be told to the world. How can I do that? Through writing a novel around a mustached man from Texas. And
my gosh.
uh-huh.
That is insane. Like, I didn't know what ride you were about to take me on, but I was
Yep.
not expecting that.
Yep. So it came from just one line that a coworker had said to me in like passing, joking friendliness. And I was like, that could be used in a romance novel, and I'm gonna do it. And so I did it.
Okay, that is like absolutely insanely incredible. I have no words. That's like something you hear in like a Hallmark movie, like the plot happens.
Right. It's like, and then I heard that line, I'm like, huh,
Light bulb.
yeah. I'm like, that would be really good if I gave a cowboy that. Okay. Love that. So that's where the storyline came from.
Oh my gosh. My mental like capacity is changed with that.
I know.
I have no words left for you. That's amazing though. That's like literally like you said, that's iconic.
I know. And I was like, how do I not? You know?
Exactly. Like the question isn't why would you, it's why would you not?
Right, like the world deserves to hear that saying, and I was like, dang, okay.
Thank you for sharing that because I think everyone will be so happy to hear that and like
Uh-huh.
people are just gonna I don't know, stop in their tracks with that because that's too good. Way too
Mhm.
good. So what was like I know that there's already three books in the series and then a fourth one. What was your experience like writing each one of the stories and how did that differ? Which, by the way, I wanted to say huge congratulations to you for the Trad Pub. That's amazing.
Oh, yes, thank you so much. Each one of the books, it's crazy when I reflect back on it, right? And as I've grown so much as a person and as a writer, and right in so many ways, going through each one of these books, right? Each one of these books totally marks a time in my life that I will forever correlate with the book I wrote, right?
Yeah.
My first book, right, is just like me stepping out of my comfort zone, right? It's me telling the story of somebody that is looking to find who they are, right? And a space where they feel like they belong. And I when I wrote the first book, I had just graduated with my master's degree. I was getting ready to, start my as a full-time therapist, and I had this idea of like, is this really what I want to do? Right? Do I want to do therapy for the rest of my life? Like, is this where I want to be? What does my future look like? And so the process of writing this was kind of me testing the waters,
Yeah.
right? The story we wrote was my introduction into something else that could be possible. Um, Book two, Where We Call Home, that one is my favorite book. So if any, my PA, Kiona and I always had this. We went to Romantically Yours in Florida last August, and everyone was like, "Oh, where should we start?" And I always said Where We Call Home, and she was like, "No, no, no, you need to start with the story we wrote." That was me being biased because Where We Call Home is my favorite.
Yeah.
But that book, I went through some tough times, like with friendships, and again, still trying to figure out who I wanted to be and staying true to myself. And in that book, in all of my books, there's usually an external conflict, right? So there aren't internal conflicts between the pairings. It's external, and they work together to solve it or to help each other through it, right?
Yeah.
And so their external conflict in Where We Call Home, or I should say Theo's, which Rhodes kind of helps her through, is navigating relationships as an adult, friendships as an adult, right? As we get older, friendships fade, friendships change, right?
Yeah.
People aren't going to be in our lives forever, right? And in that book, it's Rhodes helping Theo navigate relationships with her best friend since middle school, right? So in that part of my life, right, that came from a place where I was kind of going through that at the same time. So it's like I
Right.
was able, so for me, like that's where I kind of put myself in that book.
Yeah.
And then The Games We Play, which is the third book, I that was a book for me that I lost my grandmother around the time while I was writing that book.
Oh my.
And so, like, again, there's a woman in there that I wrote that wasn't intentional, but her name is Sandy, and she mirrors my grandmother like to a T. And so the fact that while I was writing that, right, I had lost her like suddenly. And so Sandy will be a part of that, right? So
Yeah.
each of my books, it was like the experience was so different because I was going through something that ironically matched with what my characters kind of were going through and seeing. So it was a very weird experience when I was writing all of the books. It was like things in my life were connecting and paralleling. And then
Right.
book four was just like the wrap up. It was the end. It was like, and it's crazy to say that that's the last book in the series, but it was such a surreal experience because at that point, all of them had been picked up traditionally,
Yeah.
right? I was pretty much done writing Faircloud 4, and they had all gotten picked up, and it was like this perfect little cherry right on top where it's like full circle moment, right? At the end, it all wraps up, and so does kind of my journey with them in a different way. So it's crazy.
Yeah, that is like the connections lining up with each of the stories is absolutely crazy. And I imagine it was like kind of really therapeutic at the same time because, it was so much of you as like a shadow in the story.
Yeah, and people would say like, I don't know how people like last year I wrote six books. And people like, how did you write 6 books in a year? I'm like, because that's how I got through a lot of what I had been experiencing, right? I was working a job that the burnout rate is so high, right? As a therapist, I worked in community mental health, and it's like you are seeing a lot of clients in a week, right? And it's like you are dealing with a lot of their emotional things, right? And
Right.
I'm the sounding board, right? And I'm taking it, and writing was truly the one thing that I had that brought me just complete and utter joy. Not that being a therapist never did, but it's like
Right. I get it.
that was such an emotional escape for me that like I would come home, I would spend 8, 9, 10 hours on the weekends, right? And I would just be like banging it out. My husband would be like, "Are you okay in there?" And I'm like, "I'm good." And I'm typing away. So it's like I got through last year because of writing, right? And it was just that was my that was how I healed. That was my self-care. So it's like, yeah, a lot of emotional things were poured into each and every one of those books, six of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, as a therapist, you have to take on, like you said, not that it's not a great thing and that you don't enjoy it, but you have to take on like so much weight from everybody,
Hmm.
and you got to find a release for yourself.
Yeah. And that was it. So that's how I did it. I would spend so much time locked in my bedroom, just ding, 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 typing words on the page. My one book, oh my goodness, the duet that I have coming out in the end of the year, book one, I spent, I think, like 14 hours at my computer. And I was like, yeah, I didn't move. And
Oh,
I was in the basement at that point. My husband's like, "Are you all right down there? Am I?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm just ding, ding, ding," right? Like that. It was
clickety
just,
clackety.
yeah, I was clickety clacking my heart out.
I
Yeah.
tell you, I use a keyboard that is like a typewriter because I love
Yup.
it, and it sounds like I'm just
I
demolishing it.
know. Yeah, I know. You sound like you're angry at the word when you're
Yeah.
typing the world when you're typing on it because you're like ding 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 and it's so loud. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
See, you get me so much.
I do.
And I'm
That's
not even a writer. I just use it for work, and I'm just like,
I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
for any aspiring authors who are out there listening to this, what piece of advice would you give them that you wish someone had been there to tell you in the beginning of your career?
Ooh, okay. That's a good one. What advice would I give an aspiring writer? Um, find your people, right? I mean, I think that that's a really big thing for me now is like I have one author friend that I am just like we have sent endless and countless voice memos back and forth to each other. And like I've helped her. She just did her romantasy debut. She's a romance author. Her name is Bridie Charles. She in October released her romantasy debut, and we spent oh my goodness, like hours back and forth, voice memoing, like working through it. And I think that that's a really important thing is too, is like having somebody that you trust,
Yeah.
right? That you can send things to and be like, is this good? Yes or no? And they're going to tell you yes or no, right? Or they're going to question the plot holes and they're going to help you like navigate this. And that's something that it's like, I wish I like having somebody truly there. And it took probably until like the third book for me to find her and like be feel like I have somebody that truly is there to help me navigate it all. That and don't be afraid to send your work to people
Yeah.
because and accept the feedback. Like that, like, and never comes from a harsh place, or it shouldn't come from a harsh place, but like
Right.
feedback is your best friend, like for sure.
I totally agree with you. And I think it is so important to have that, especially early on in your career, if you can find it.
Yep.
Because, like, everyone, well, the people that you should be friends with, let's say it like that, or, colleagues or whatever, they should be wanting to help you and wanting to support you. And,
Absolutely.
what they tell you is going to help. And they're telling you, like you said, if they did point out something important maybe you didn't think about or whatever, that is important to have. And they're doing it from a place of love. And
Absolutely, like a friend, right? And being able to share your accomplishments with that person, right? And if you feel like you can't, writing is a lonely profession, right? I mean, we sit at our computers by ourselves, hours on edge, right? I mean, that's how we write, right? We sit by
Mhm.
ourselves. So it's like it's already lonely. So finding people that you trust and that genuinely want the best for you. And it could be trial and error. And don't give up like if you do meet people and they just aren't meshing well or right, we feel this like there's a disconnect. Don't be afraid to put yourself back out there, right? I mean, it takes trial and error to find your people. So find your people, do it, take the leap, and don't be afraid, right? You're already taking a chance putting your work out there for the world to criticize, right? Every author, right, is going to put their work out there and somebody won't like it. Like, and
Exactly.
it's bound, right? And it's bound to happen.
It's
But
just the thing of the job. Like that just comes with the territory.
yeah, like you're not going to please everybody and you won't. So work towards something you're proud of with the people that you're proud of.
Right. And I think if you, like if you wrote a book with the mindset, if one person connects to this the way that I did, it's worth it.
Absolutely. That's how my first book was. I was like, I'm gonna get like 10 people to read it, and even if it's 10 people, like I'm good. Right?
Yeah,
It's just like it's as long as those 10 people, even if it's one of those 10 people enjoyed it or found something or found joy in it, like then I'm good, right? But it yeah, absolutely.
I think building relationships in this community is one of the most magical things. Now I've been on Bookstagram for little, almost 2 years, a year and a half. I've been working as an author PA for a year or over a year, and it's like I never imagined I would have such a sense of community from just starting a little page to yap about books.
Right. I started, like I said, I had started on Bookstagram, and I met one of my good friends, and she lived 10 minutes down the road from me.
Oh my
Which is
gosh.
crazy because I live in the middle of nowhere, and she lived 10 minutes down the road from me. And like she was at my wedding. I was at her bridal shower. I was at her baby shower. Like you know what I mean? Like the sense of community though that is so true is like yeah, like you meet all of these people. My PA, she was from California, and we met for the first time in Florida. Like, and that's the first time we ever met in person, and it felt like it was just so natural, right? And I've met so many good people, and it takes putting yourself out there and finding people that may not be the best, right? It's finding your people, and that's what matters. And I've found so many great people along this whole journey. It is important, and I find like where I had said in the beginning is finding a place where you feel like you belong, and I feel like I'm starting to get there.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
I'm so happy that this has been your experience and that you are, finding so many people that are getting to go on this journey with you. I'm so grateful that you wanted to share a little bit of that journey on my little show. Do you have a favorite quote or scene that you'd like to share with our listeners, whether it's from the first book, the second, the third, that you just want to like maybe give a little nod to?
Oh, oh my goodness. Actually, I did a pre-order incentive for the story we wrote. So if you had pre-ordered it and you sent it like proof, I picked a winner to write a character, like a side character into Faircloud 4. And so I just wrote that scene, like I contacted the winner and she came up with the side character, and I just wrote the scene in the book. And I read it through yesterday and I was like, this is so funny. Like this is so cute. So like I think that scene, I hope that she'll be happy with the character she created and how I portrayed that side character in the book. So I have to say that was a really good one. Right? Having that moment with a reader, right, is like, here, I had her give me the name, like a description, like a brief background history. And like I wrote her into the book, right? And that was so fun to do that I think that people are going to enjoy that as well, the character that was created because of that.
Oh my gosh, that is so wonderful that you did that. And I'm sure it meant the world that the reader got to like participate a little bit in that.
Uh-huh.
So great when you get to build relationships with authors and readers, and the connection is really beautiful.
Yeah, so that was probably my favorite scene most recently that I have written that nobody has seen yet.
Oh,
Even the people that have read, because I have a few people that have read Faircloud 4.
that's a tongue twister.
I know, where we first fell. I don't know why I don't say that. But even all of the people that have read it, I have somebody proofreading it right now, and even she didn't see it, so it will literally be a surprise to everybody.
That's gonna be amazing and literally so exciting to have like this little teaser out there, people knowing that it's there and that they can't get it yet until.
I know until it comes out in July.
Oh my gosh. I really do love that though. What do you think readers will love the most about the fourth book in the series?
Ooh. The fourth book in the series, what a good one. If if you've read books 1, 2, and 3, you've known that poor Logan is just like a lone wolf, right? He has his friends, they're his best friends, but he's kind of in the background, right? People forget that Logan exists because he is so kind of distant, right? Distant because of what is currently happening, right? To obviously the last book, I've put it everywhere. It's Boone Cassidy's little sister Ellie and Logan. And so Ellie had gone away for books 1 and 2. She wasn't present. And you
Mhm.
see a lack of Logan too, right? And I think that I'm hoping, right? And people infer like he's not present because she's not, right? And he's behind the scenes, he's with her or talking to her, right? And so in book 4, you finally see him for who he is, right? And he's around, like he's there, and like he finds love and gives Ellie love that she has been kind of missing out on for most of her life. And like it's always been you as one of the tropes, right? It's like I know it's childhood best friends. It's always been you. They go on a road trip, right? He's her escape. So I think that just seeing that kind of come full circle and finally getting a piece of Logan that people have kind of been neglected, right? Because on purpose,
Yeah.
intentionally, finally getting that piece of him and his sweetness, because he is literally it's so sweet. There isn't a bad bone in his body. So that.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to read the fourth book. Thank you for that setup. I definitely think people will love and enjoy that. And I think It's Always Been You is one of my favorite tropes. It just sounds so, like, it makes me feel all the feels just hearing someone say the trope.
I know, it's so romance, Conan.
Yeah, which, I mean, I guess we're in the right place for that.
Right, right.
Um, I always love to ask authors because I'd love to know what they would say. I know I've kept you on here for a minute, but what three words would you use to describe Faircloud, the whole series?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Um, whole series. Oh, that's a hard one. Okay, we're gonna go with comfort. Oh my goodness. This is a really hard question.
I
Okay,
try. I mean, I do.
okay, comfort. It's like I don't know the vocab. I don't know words. Um, oh my goodness. Comfort, togetherness, and comfort, togetherness. And the third one is family. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, we got it locked in.
Comfort, togetherness, and family.
Hit the buzzer, people.
Hit the buzzer. That's it. I'm locking it in.
Okay, I think that is the perfect combination, to be honest.
Good.
I love it. Thank you for answering such a hard question. I love stumping people with it. It's so
How
fun.
good
I'm
is that
sorry.
good one? Right? Because they're all the books are so different. So try right finding that common thread
Exactly.
right through it all. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta love a challenge.
I know, you really worked my brain here. That's a good thing though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think people are gonna like flock to find and go read all of them, all of the series. So,
Who doesn't want to feel comfort and cozy?
exactly. I think
Just
we all need that. Thank you so much for joining me this week. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on a segment of Bookspace Chatter to talk
thank
all
you for
about the
having
Faircloud series.
me.
Of course, this was literally so much fun, and I cannot wait to read the fourth book. I'm so excited for when it comes out and officially releases to everybody. It's gonna be so good. You already set it up great. Yeah, thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me to chat about this series. And for our listeners, I will have all of M. Hartley's socials linked in the description box of this episode and where you can find her books and go check them out for yourself. And yeah, get ready for book four, the bow on top of the Faircloud series. You next time, same time, Bookspace Besties.